Ladies and gentlemen, we are taught from the very beginning, be nice, be polite, smile, even when it hurts, say sorry, even when it's not your fault, stay quiet, even when your heart is screaming. But what if I told you that being nice all the time is the reason why people walk over you? That is the reason your worth is questioned, your presence is ignored, and your dreams are delayed. Being nice all the time makes you invisible. That is a hard pill to swallow, but the truth often is. You keep telling yourself that if you just stay quiet, if you just keep smiling, if you just avoid conflict, people will see your heart. But they don't. They see your silence, they see your surrender, and they get used to it. Slowly, you disappear. Not physically, but emotionally. Your needs get ignored. Your presence gets taken for granted. Your opinions are never asked for. And somewhere deep inside, you feel it, you're fading. You think being nice is the reason people will love you. But the more you agree when you want to disagree, the more you nod when you want to shake your head, the more you sacrifice your truth to protect their feelings, the more invisible you become to yourself. The saddest part is when you finally try to speak up, people will say, "What happened to you?" Not because they care, but because they're shocked that the person who always gave in finally woke up. It begins early, in childhood. You are told not to talk back, not to complain, to always share, always say sorry, always say thank you. That becomes a pattern. And then one day you're 25 or 35 or 55 and wondering why no one listens to you, why people use you, why your name never comes up when credit is being given. It's because you trained everyone to forget you, not by being bad, but by being too nice. People don't see the real you when you're always trying to be liked. They see a version that's easy to use. And here's the thing. People do not value what is easily available. If you give all of yourself without anyone asking, if you say yes to everything without questioning what it costs you, then your worth decreases in their eyes. Not because you are not valuable, but because you never set the price. This is not about being rude. This is not about becoming bitter. This is about becoming honest. When you stop being nice, you start being real, and real is powerful. Real is unforgettable. Real doesn't chase attention. It commands it. You don't have to be loud to be heard. You don't have to be aggressive to be respected. But you do have to be clear. You have to be clear about your limits, your needs, your voice. If you keep swallowing your feelings just to avoid awkward moments, you will create a life where you're constantly uncomfortable. Niceness without boundaries is a disguise. And while you wear that disguise, your real self is suffocating inside. You say yes when you mean no. You smile when you're hurt. You laugh when you feel dismissed. And that builds a wall around your soul. Eventually, no one can see who you really are, not even you. Start showing up, not just with a smile, but with substance. Not just with agreement, but with identity. Stop being the nice version of yourself that pleases everyone. Be the real version that inspires respect, even if it ruffles some feather. Because at the end of the day, the people who truly see you, value you, and stand by you are not the ones who need you to be nice. They need you to be true. People respect boundaries, not just smiles. That is the part no one tells you when you're busy trying to be liked. You can wear the widest smile, speak in the softest tone, offer endless help, and still feel unseen, unheard, and unimportant. Because the truth is, people do not respect those who constantly bend over backward. They respect those who stand tall, who say, "This is my line and you will not cross it." A smile can open doors, but only boundaries can keep the room yours. Boundaries are not walls. They're definitions. They tell people who you are, what you allow, and what you refuse to tolerate. And yet, so many of us are scared of them. We think setting a boundary means we are being cold or unfriendly. That's saying, "I'm not okay with this," will make people upset or walk away. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The people who get upset at your boundaries are the ones who benefited from your lack of them. When you keep showing up for everyone without limits, without pause, without the word no, people assume that's just who you are. They assume you don't mind the extra work, the extra favor, the emotional weight. You taught them you're available at all times, even when you are breaking inside. And when you finally do speak up, they say you've changed. But you didn't change. You just stopped allowing the disrespect you kept swallowing in the name of being nice. There is a certain fear that creeps in when you start drawing lines. You fear being judged, losing relationships, being misunderstood. But what you need to ask is, if a relationship only works when you are silent, when you are shrinking, when you are sacrificing your peace, what kind of relationship is that? It's not love. It's control dressed as companionship. Every time you say yes, just to avoid awkwardness, every time you smile through discomfort, every time you agree to something that weighs you down, you are breaking a promise to yourself. That promise says, I will take care of you, and that you is the one who matters most. The one you live with every day in your mind, your heart, your soul. You cannot protect your peace if you're too busy protecting everyone else's opinion of you. Boundaries are not for pushing people away, they are for honoring the space where your dignity lives. When someone respects your boundary, they are saying, I see you, I respect you, I value your voice. When they ignore it, they are saying, your comfort is not my concern. That moment tells you everything you need to know. And remember, boundaries do not need to be dramatic. You don't have to scream or explain or write long messages. Sometimes, a simple I'm not okay with that, or that doesn't work for me, is all it takes. You don't owe anyone a speech to justify why you're protecting your time, your energy, or your heart. People may not like your boundaries. Some may even leave. Let them. Because those who truly care about you will never punish you for choosing yourself. And those who walk away when you stop overgiving were never really there for you to begin with. They were there for what you gave, not for who you were. Setting boundaries is an act of love, not just towards others, but toward yourself. You cannot build a meaningful life if everyone else is driving your direction. You need to sit in the driver's seat and choose your own destination. And the road to that life is paved with boundaries, not just smiles. Fake kindness drains your real energy. You smile when you do not mean it, nod when your heart says no. Show up for others when you can barely show up for yourself. On the outside you seem kind, helpful, agreeable, but inside something starts to break. That crack is not because you are weak. It is because you are betraying yourself repeatedly in the name of being nice. And every time you fake kindness to keep peace, to avoid conflict, or to meet someone's expectations, you chip away at your authenticity. Real kindness flows from a place of fullness. It comes from peace, from choice, from truth. Fake kindness, on the other hand, is driven by fear. Fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of confrontation. It is not generosity, it is survival. You are not helping others because you want to. You are doing it because you feel you have to. And that kind of giving is not a gift. It is a transaction paid for with your mental and emotional exhaustion. The world applauds the people who are always available, always helpful, always smiling. But no one sees the cost of that performance. No one notices the late nights, the anxiety, the suppressed anger. You go to bed feeling drained, not because you gave from your heart, but because you gave from your wounds. You gave from emptiness, hoping it would be enough, but it never is. Because fake kindness doesn't heal relationships. It hides the truth behind them. You cannot keep pouring from a cup that's already empty, and fake kindness empties it faster than anything else. It makes you say yes when you want to say no. It makes you pretend you are okay when you aren't. It makes you accept behavior you would never tolerate if you truly respected your own energy. You become the person who everyone counts on, except you. You become the peacekeeper, the fixer, the helper. But deep down, you are screaming for someone to ask you how you really feel. Pretending to be okay all the time is not noble. It is exhausting, and the longer you do it, the harder it becomes to remember who you were before you began performing for everyone's approval. Fake kindness is not selfless. It is self-erasing. It is teaching people that your needs do not exist, that your time is always available, that your silence is agreement. But none of that is true. Real kindness sometimes looks like walking away. Sometimes it sounds like a firm no. Sometimes it means letting people face the consequences of their actions instead of rescuing them every time. It is not cruel. It is clear. It is not harsh. It is honest. True kindness does not pretend. It does not perform. It does not require you to bleed just to keep others comfortable. People will praise you for your endless patience, for how understanding you are, for how you never say anything negative. But they will never notice the cost of your pretending. And one day you will look in the mirror and not recognize the person looking back, because you have been too busy being what everyone else needed. You forgot who you are when you are not being needed. The only way to reclaim your energy is to stop faking kindness. Say what you mean. Take up space. Be quiet when you want to be quiet. Rest when you are tired. When something matters. You do not owe the world a version of yourself that is always cheerful, always agreeable, always available. You owe yourself the truth, the rest, the honesty that fuels real connection and real kindness. The kind that does not drain you, it fills you. The kind that is rooted in strength, not in fear. The kind that gives without asking you to lose yourself in the process. Saying no is self-care, not selfishness. But we have been raised to believe the opposite. From an early age, we are taught to be agreeable, to say yes out of politeness, to keep others happy even if it costs us our peace. The word no feels heavy on our tongue. We hesitate, we sugarcoat, we add explanations, apologies, and nervous smiles. Because somewhere deep down, we are afraid that if we say no, we will lose love, respect, or belonging. But in trying to please everyone else, we end up abandoning ourselves. Self-care is not just about spa days and quiet mornings. Sometimes, it is as simple and as hard as saying no, when everything in your gut tells you that something is not right, whether it is a request that drains you, an invitation that doesn't align with your values, or a person who keeps asking for more than you can give. Your no is the boundary between your well-being and their expectations. We have glorified being available, always there, always ready, always saying yes. We think that makes us strong, reliable, loving, but what it really does is deplete us. When you keep giving from a place of exhaustion, that is not generosity, it is self-neglect. Saying yes when you want to say no creates resentment, and that resentment grows silently until it becomes anger, sadness, or distance you do not even understand. You do not need to justify your no. You do not need to explain every detail. A simple, kind, but firm no is enough. You are allowed to protect your time, your energy, your mind. You are not a machine that exists to fulfill the needs of others. You are a human being with limits. Honoring those limits is not selfish. It is respectful, necessary, and healthy. People might not like your no. They might say you've changed, you've become rude, you've become distant. But the truth is, you've become honest. You've stopped lying through a forced smile. You've stopped giving when it hurts. You've stopped putting yourself last. And that shift shakes people who were comfortable with your silence. Saying no is one of the most powerful things you can do for your mental and emotional health. It creates space to rest, to breathe, to focus on what truly matters. It allows you to show up fully for the things you've chosen, not half-heartedly for the things you've been dragged into. You deserve a life where your yes is meaningful, not automatic, and that only happens when your no becomes confident. We often confuse obligation with kindness. We think we owe people our time, our energy, our yes. But true kindness cannot exist without consent. A yes that comes from guilt or fear is not a gift, it is a burden. And when you carry too many burdens that are not yours, your own dreams begin to collapse under the weight. There is nothing noble about burning yourself out to keep others warm. You are not required to be everything to everyone. You are not responsible for everyone's happiness. You are responsible for your own inner peace. And that peace often begins the moment you stop explaining your no and start trusting it. You are not born to say yes to every favor, every request, every demand. You were born to choose rest over pressure, choose honesty over people-pleasing, choose presence over performance, and most importantly, choose yourself when no one else will. Because when you do that, you are teaching others how to treat you, not as a convenience, but as a whole person. Strength is silent, not submissive. The difference is vast, yet often misunderstood. Silence is not always weakness, and submission is not always peace. You can be silent and powerful. You can be quiet and steady. You can hold your ground without shouting, and you can say no without making a scene. But when silence comes from fear, from suppression, from the need to avoid conflict at all costs, it becomes submission. And submission, when repeated too often, erodes your self-worth. True strength is not loud or aggressive. It does not need to dominate to win every argument or to be the center of attention. Strength knows when to speak and when to walk away. It understands that every battle is not worth fighting, and every voice raised in the room does not deserve a response. But strength is also not about becoming invisible. It does not mean staying quiet to please others. It does not mean accepting disrespect with a smile. It does not mean saying yes while your soul is screaming no. Submissiveness is not humility. It is a habit of self-erasure. You lower your head even when you are right. You apologize just to keep things calm. You let others interrupt, decide, and dismiss you because speaking up feels dangerous. You convince yourself that silence keeps you safe, that compliance keeps you loved, that invisibility keeps you accepted. But what it really keeps you is stuck in roles that do not reflect your worth, stuck in relationships that do not honor your voice, stuck in routines that drain your spirit. When people see you as always accommodating, always agreeable, always available, they stop checking in with your boundaries. They assume your silence is consent, your gentleness is permission, your patience is endless. But strength knows its limit. It is the quiet courage to say, "This is enough." It is the internal power to choose yourself without needing anyone's approval. It is the presence that enters a room without needing to shout to be seen. Being silent with strength means you are choosing peace over drama, but not at the cost of your self-respect. It means you are observing, listening, assessing, and responding with intention. It is a silence that builds, not breaks. A silence that holds power, not pain. It is different from the silence that comes from fear, the kind that holds your words hostage, that keeps your heart locked in anxiety, that makes you nod when everything in you wants to resist. Society often confuses submission with grace. People tell you you are mature when you tolerate too much. They say you are composed when you swallow your truth. They call you noble when you suffer in silence. But strength does not ask you to suffer. It asks you to rise, not with noise, but with clarity. Not with confrontation, but with conviction. It invites you to be still without becoming small. You are allowed to be soft and strong. You are allowed to be kind and firm. You are allowed to love without losing your voice. Strength whispers in those moments when you are tempted to please, but choose to protect your peace instead. It speaks in the quiet decisions that no one sees but that change everything. It lives in your boundaries, your values, your deep knowing that your worth does not depend on your volume or your compliance. Do not confuse silence with submission. Silence can be a strategy, a sanctuary, a space for reflection and recalibration. But submission is surrendering your truth to maintain the illusion of harmony. The more you give in when you need to stand up, the more you teach others that your strength is negotiable. And your strength is not up for negotiation. It is who you are, even when no one sees it, even when no one applauds it, even when it lives in your quietest moment. The world does not reward people pleasers. It rewards those who are clear, grounded, and bold enough to stand by their truth. But people-pleasing often disguises itself as kindness, as humility, as cooperation. You try to be helpful, supportive, agreeable, flexible. You bend and twist yourself into shapes that keep others happy, but in the process, you become unrecognizable to yourself. You smile to avoid conflict. You agree to things that make you uncomfortable. You say yes when everything in you is shouting no, not because you want to, but because you are afraid that being disliked means being unloved. People-pleasing is a silent thief. It steals your time, your energy, your boundaries, and eventually your identity. You think that if you just stay nice enough, just do what they expect, just make things easier for everyone, they will finally see your worth. But they do not, because what you are really doing is training people to value convenience over connection. You are teaching them that your comfort is optional, your needs are flexible, your presence is always guaranteed. And when you finally break, because you will, they look surprised. They say you've changed, as if the person you became to survive was ever truly you. The real you was buried under the weight of approval, hidden beneath the desire to belong, lost in the noise of constantly wondering what people think of you. People-pleasing creates a false sense of peace. But it is not peace. It is performance. You are not solving conflict. You are avoiding it. You are not building relationships. You are preserving illusions. You are not being strong. You are being silent. And silence, when used to protect the feelings of others at the expense of your own truth, becomes self-betrayal. The irony is, the more you try to please everyone, the less people actually respect you, because people respect boundaries, confidence, clarity. They respect the person who says what they mean, who knows what they need, who stands firm in their values, even if it makes others uncomfortable. People-pleasing might win you short-term praise, but it loses you long-term peace. And that peace, once lost, takes years to rebuild. You do not have to be rude to be honest. You do not have to be cruel to be clear. You do not have to be cold to be respected. You simply have to stop making everyone else's opinion of you more important than your opinion of yourself. You have to stop performing for applause that never comes and approval that never satisfies. You have to stop trading your truth for temporary acceptance. The world notices strength, not silence. It pays attention to conviction, not compliance. Your value does not lie in how easy you are to tolerate. It lies in how deeply you know who you are. And that kind of self-knowing only comes when you stop being who others want you to be and start being who you were born to be. Every time you choose to speak honestly, every time you set a boundary, Every time you disappoint someone by being real, instead of being agreeable, you reclaim a piece of your soul. You show yourself that your voice matters, that your presence is not a background feature in someone else's story. It is a full, vivid, leading role in your own. People-pleasing is exhausting because it never ends. There is always one more person to impress, one more situation to smooth over, one more moment to smile through. And yet, at the end of all that effort, you are still left feeling empty. Because applause is not love, attention is not respect, and approval is not peace. Peace comes when you stop asking for permission to be yourself. Peace comes when you stop performing and start living. Peace comes when you finally choose you. You are not responsible for others' comfort. That idea might feel unfamiliar, even harsh, because for so long you have been carrying the weight of keeping everything peaceful, everyone pleased, every situation calm. You have been softening your words so no one feels offended. You have been adjusting your truth so others are not uncomfortable. You have been making yourself smaller so no one feels overshadowed. But the longer you live like that, the more you disappear from your own life. Other people's emotions are not your job to fix. Their reactions, their disappointments, their awkward silences. After you speak your truth, none of that belongs to you. Still, we walk on eggshells. We try not to take up too much space. We try not to ask for too much. We try not to disagree too openly. Because we are taught that keeping people comfortable is the same as being good. But it is not. Sometimes, keeping others comfortable requires you to abandon yourself. You are allowed to have opinions that make others pause. You are allowed to say things that shake the room. You are allowed to exist in your full expression, even if someone else finds it too much. Comfort is not the same as respect. In fact, sometimes real respect only begins when discomfort shows up. When someone says, "I don't like what you said," and you respond with, "That's okay, I still stand by it." That is where you stop performing and start living. You do not owe anyone a watered-down version of yourself. You do not have to edit your story so others feel better about their roles in it. If your truth makes someone uncomfortable, that discomfort is a mirror for them, not a muzzle for you. There is nothing noble in shrinking. There is nothing kind in pretending. You are not doing the world any favors by hiding your light to protect fragile ego. We have been trained to fear the frown, the raised eyebrow, the disappointed sigh. We think those are signs we've done something wrong, but sometimes they are signs you are finally doing something right. You are finally choosing you. You are finally refusing to carry guilt for things that were never yours. You are finally releasing the pressure to be everyone's safe space, while neglecting your own. Being honest might make the room cold. Speaking up might change how people look at you, but that change is not your burden to bear. Let them process it. Let them adjust. Let them walk away, if they must. Because the people who truly value you will never ask you to bury your fire just to keep them warm. Stop making decisions based on how easy it will be for others to accept them. Stop editing your personality so you are easier to digest. You were not put on this earth to be everyone's favorite flavor. You were put here to be real, and real is not always smooth or soft or silent. Real is sometimes loud, sometimes raw, sometimes unfiltered. And that is exactly how it should be. There will always be someone who finds your boundaries too harsh, your ambition too loud, your voice too bold. That is not your problem. That is their discomfort. Let them feel it. Let them learn. Let them grow. Or let them go. You are not responsible for their growth, their healing, their emotional journey. You are responsible for honoring your own, and that begins when you finally release the pressure to make everyone else feel okay at the cost of your own.
Sotto la luna cammino piano, con le scarpe vecchi di papà, strada parra, lo cori canta, e ti penso mentre va. Sotto la luna cammino piano, con le scarpe vecchi di papà, strada parra, lo cori canta, e ti penso mentre va. A nonna spanna i panni fuori, culo soli che struscia l'aria, o pane caldo sopra la pietra e l'odore di casa mia. Vento di casa, portami a tia, tra le mura du paese mia. Se tu mi chiami, torno con tutto, chianta un limone, ti dugno lo frutto. Una fontana cantante chiazza i picciri di corrono fora, e una canzone antica ballamo con l'organetto che suona ancora. Una fontana cantante chiazza i picciri di corrono fora, e una canzone antica ballamo con l'organetto che suona ancora. E se lontano vai non scordare, che ogni pezza cagati si può ricostruire. Lo cuore mio sempre ti sapi, torna a casa che lo cielo t'abbraccia.